welcome to my video. We are going to be talking about borderline personality disorder today. To start off, first I'm going to define what borderline personality is, and then we're going to talk about treatments for it, and then I will go into detail a little bit about the client that we're going to meet in video 2 and some of her symptoms of the disorder. So to start, first I want to reference my handy DSM-5, and I want to just read a little bit out of here. This really helps describe what BPD is. So let me just start here. So borderline personality disorder. So the first main piece of this disorder is going to be this first part I'm going to read, and that is a pervasive pattern of instability of interpersonal relationships, self-image, and this begins in early adulthood, and it is present in a variety of contexts. So to break that first part down a little bit more, so imagine it's a client who has those types of relationships where it's the I hate you, I love you. It's exactly like the DSM-5 said. It's that instability of relationships. And then it's the self-image. So think of eating disorder a little bit maybe. So they have a really poor self-image of themselves. Maybe they feel as though they aren't worthy. All those kind of things are going to fall in with BPD. And then in order to gain the title in the DSM-5, it says that the person needs to have 5 or more of the following items, and then it gives us a list, and some of these things are: number 1, avoids frantic efforts to leave a real or imagined relationship. So basically, to sum that up, they have a fear of abandonment, right? So they are taking these extravagant efforts to avoid this abandonment. So this abandonment that most likely isn't happening. However, in their mind, they think it is. So that's just one of the things. Another one is intense interpersonal relationships, characterized by alternating between extremes. So again, that I love you, I hate you. Another one would be identity disturbance. Basically, we kind of talked about that. It's that poor self-image they have of themselves. They might feel unworthy. Another one would be recurrent suicidal behavior. So with BPD, there's really high rates of suicide and self-harming, so that's a big one. Another one would be chronic feelings of emptiness. So again, that low self-image. Another one would be intense anger and difficulty controlling anger. That's a big one here. And we're going to be talking about that a little bit later with the client that I'll be working with. Another one would be dissociative symptoms. So think of maybe out-of-body experiences. That would be something that somebody with BPD might show. So again, a person needs to have 5 or more of the following. I just briefly went through some of those rather quickly, but again, that's according to the DSM-5 in order for them to gain the title. So I'm going to set this aside, and we are going to talk about treatments a little bit for DBT. So in the video, in part 2, I'm going to be doing a treatment. It is called dialectical behavior therapy, DBT for short. And so basically that is, it's a group or it's an individual therapy, and it is specifically used to treat borderline personality disorder. However, I know there's some recent information about it helping treat things like bipolar and depression as well. But for this, we're going to be using it to treat BPD. So basically, DBT helps manage stress. It helps tolerate distress and improve your relationships. So there's a lot of pieces to that. So a lot of times you can work with a handbook, and it will talk about how to get into a state of relaxation, and then it will move to ways that you can distract yourself. So if you're having um, a specific moment where it's really hard to control that intense anger, that would come in handy in a situation like that. So again, it's managing those emotions, tolerating distress. That would be DBT. Another therapy that would treat BPD is schema focused therapy. I'm not going to go into great detail for some of these just for lack of time. Another one is MBT. It's called mentalization based therapy. It's a talk therapy. And then another one would be transference focused psychotherapy, TFP. It helps you understand your emotions and the interpersonal difficulties through developing relationships between you and your therapist. So, kind of a team thing going on there. Medications for treating BPD. So, medications might include some antidepressants, antipsychotics, or mood stabilizing drugs. So, some of those that we had talked about in class might be the SSRIs, MAOs. MAO again would be your second line if the SSRI isn't working out well. Um, Otherwise, hospitalization also comes into play for treatment. Um, Again, maybe it's more intense episodes that person is having that might require a hospitalization. All right, and then just a little bit about my client. If I can grab this. Okay, so our client in the video, it is going to be a 27-year-old Caucasian female. She is going to be seeing a community clinic, and I'll be the therapist in the video. She's not currently on any medications. She'll be returning. This will be her third session with me. Again, we'll be doing the DBT therapy in the video. Just a little bit more about her. She has major fears of abandonment. Again, that was one of the big things we talked about with that DSM-5. She has major difficulties maintaining relationships. Again, that's kind of that up and down. She's having a lot of intense moments with that. She recently had an explosive fight with her boyfriend. She was displaying a lot of anger and physical aggression with some of her recent fights with the boyfriend. So again, part of part of BPD, that borderline personality disorder, is that you're going to have perhaps some intense anger, violence, that kind of thing. And I think that pretty much covers it. So again, a lot of intense relationships, that major fear of abandonment, um, and I'm trying to think. I think that might be it. That covers her. Don't think there's anything else about this. Borderline personality disorder. It can affect somebody from any race, any part of the world. It's not just one specific population. I had some facts here. It affects men and women. It's just not men and women, like man or woman. It's both. Um, and you can, with treatment, you can improve this uh, personality disorder. Again, with maybe using DBT, like we'll be doing in the video. But yeah, so I think that concludes our first part of the video. Thank you.